think Bibu has looked best when he is put on champions like the Volibear that we saw come out in their last series.
I want to see if there's any targeting towards Bibu, try and put him on something uncomfortable once again. And for WE on the red side here, starting off in Xi'an, remember, their home arena. We'll be questioning to see what Breathe gets. It's not going to be the Lee Sin, and I respect this takeaway from BLG, considering that Breathe's Lee Sin has been one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, this was an expected go-to for him. WE right now showing the Viego. I would expect them to lock this in, assuming Shanks should be able to pull this one out. You also do have the set open, and that would open up something like the Diana coming out in the jungle. You have the double AD soul laners, AP junglers, setting up for maybe picking your bottom lane later on. That has been something that a lot of teams have liked doing, is just going for your whole top side in the first rotation, realizing, hey, there's so many options in the bottom lane right now that it is fine leaving that till 4-5.
I think it's also important to note, just taking a step back, that Ezreal getting banned away is something that we were talking about in rehearsal, and I was very interested to see how high it'd be prioritized. Both Elk, Aiming, big Ezreal players have had most of their success on it through their, I'd say Elk's career definitely, but Aiming's previous series too. So now that that's banned away, we go a different direction. We have Moonfall and we have the Viego alongside. So a strong jungle pick to build up early momentum for WE.
And now for BLG, I think there's a few questions with the junglers that are banned, right? If you want to go towards your typical AD jungler, you would expect something like the Volibear coming out here and looking for those early ganks. I think that's why WE were flashing it on their side. They say, hey, we know what you're going to pick once we do lock in this Diana.
Wow.
And there it is once again, Zika bringing out the LeBlanc, 2-0 so far on this pick. It's something I've seen a lot of fans be critical of who don't follow the LPL regularly or don't know someone like Zika very in depth. But this is his main champion by far. You go check his solo queue counts. It's his most played. It's something he was pulling out a ton in 2020. And even the way he plays it, I love watching how he uses like vision denial and playing around vision to look for picks or look for ways to get involved in team fights. I think it's something that's been very specific for players like him and Cream this split.
You said 2-0 on this LeBlanc. He has not died a single death so far in the LPL 2021 Summer on those two games. So we'll be tracking that perfect KDA a little bit closer. The Varus, a natural reaction here when it's still left out and about. Elk's going to snag that one while WE start banning away bottom laners. Remember that Aiming and PP God do not have their support AD duo, so WE have a couple of directions they can pace now.
And the Thresh ban is just so good. I love it more than banning out any ADs, right? Because banning out the Thresh effectively bans out 3 ADs. And sure, you can see, you can see the Kog'Maw Lulu come out, things like that, but banning out Thresh pretty much makes it impossible to pick Aphelios or Jinx. We've seen them done with Nautilus, but I don't really like it too much. And it makes it harder to pick Kog'Maw because I feel like Lulu Kog'Maw has become much more situational with teams finding out, hey, there's a lot of dive threats that can make that hard. And the next ban is so standard for WE. Taking away the Kai'Sa has been the other pick that Aiming has gone towards. So I feel like Aiming's going to have to bring out a champion that he hasn't played yet this split.
That's right. Otherwise, going back for something like the Jinx, right? You already mentioned the Lulu Cog, the other pick he's actually played, but with the volatility and, you're right, working out how to situationally beat it, I think is an important piece of context. Set banned away by BLG, something that we've again seen Zika pilot, but he's already on the LeBlanc. Doesn't want to give Shanks that over. And we talked a little bit about Shanks' champion pool here, Lyric. He could still pick up the Viego, but remember, still a flex that Breathe could champion into the top lane.
Yeah, and when it comes to what Shanks would pick up, if they do decide they want to give Breathe the pick top, I really have no idea what Shanks will decide to play. We know Breathe has already played 2 games of Viego, so I think there is a very high chance that they do just decide to put it top and have it go up against either the Lee Sin or the Volley. We're not quite sure which one's going to go top or jungle just yet. They definitely can flex those picks. And BLG having the pretty much only bot combo left open. Looks like they're going to go towards the Senna Tahm Kench. They have played a Senna lane once. It was the Senna Karma, and that was the win they picked up against EDG. So Aiming definitely no stranger to this pick. BLG's comp says it's all going to be topside oriented. Has a lot of side lane pressure coming out from both LeBlanc and Lee Sin. They also have that global coming out from the Abyssal Voyage to try to enable them to win those side matchups even harder.
I do like that you're putting a bit of eggs in the solo lane basket here with recent success of BLG and how Zika's been doing in these lanes as well. We'll talk about that in a second because the Sylas is a match here, so it will be a top lane Viego for Breathe to run into Bubu's Lee Sin. Lyric, again, final piece. We talked about the champion pool. This is something that's very much in meta at the moment, away from the Azir, Orianna. Shanks is going to be trying to match.
And it's really interesting. So WE's composition, very stock and standard with what's good right now, right? We see the typical dive the backline composition coming out. Everyone can jump forward. Elk just throwing out Qs and ultimates from a range, trying to enable his team. And for BLG, we set it up. It's all about, I think, pulling the members of WE apart until later in the game. Yep. When Senna does become a strong enough force, I definitely think you can take 5v5s against WE's team composition. Okay. You have the root coming out from Senna to buy time. You have the Lee Sin ultimate to try to keep people away. You have the W coming out from Tom Kench. Like, there's so many tools to deal with what the side of WE have picked, but I definitely think in early skirmishes, WE will be favored. They're definitely,
for BLG's comp, later on as well, they're kind of swifty, right? You can dart around as LeBlanc, Lee Sin, Volibear as well has his own mobility. And as soon as you get onto the back line, BLG can always re-engage. There's never a once-in trigger that means you can't get out. There are ways to dart around the fight. So I'd be curious to see if BLG can get that center to the point where there is that space, there are those tools to play with. You talk about WE early on here. When we've seen the Diana in the LPL, we've looked towards that 6 lyric, and we've tried to see how the Diana can snowball the game and really get early access to some of the lanes that are overexposed.
That's the big thing, right? Is we've seen a lot of teams try to use Diana as like a pre-6 skirmisher, and it has never worked out. IG are the team that stand out in my mind, where I don't think it was their last series, but it was the one before where we saw the Diana Yasuo coming out, and then they're fighting in River at level 4. Both Diana and Yasuo not really much of champions at that level, and they just got completely exposed. So hopefully going to see something different today out from the side of WE. WE definitely need this win. They are on a 2-series loss streak. They are looking for momentum by putting Shanks back on the roster.
BLG trying to continue their own momentum from OMG, right? It was a good series for someone like Aiming, who now on this center, we're going to see if he can get to that soul count, those couple of items that'll make him so relevant in this game. And we're on to Summoner's Rift. Bit of an invade here from WE, but it is a LeBlanc. A LeBlanc with Electrocute as well, something we've just always seen most of the time when Zeke has pulled this out. Bit of kill threat here, Lyric, or at least, a lot of damage threat, I should say. Versing Silas, I'm never sure whether you can actually kill him.
This mid lane matchup, early on, we know LeBlanc is going to get pressure. You're going to poke him out, with your autos, going to try and proc the Electrocute and be able to do fine. But I feel like this is one of Silas's more doable matchups, especially once you hit things like level 3. Oh, God.
Well, actually, they can turn this. Missing's in a lot of trouble. He has to flash away. PP God is a level 1 Tom Kench, and they always win. First blood over to BLG. They both walked into the lane. Now Elk has to cleanse away, but he's going to get 3-struck in a second. PP God's looking pretty hungry. His aiming gets the range. The slow down. Elk's next on the menu, boys. PP God for the double kill at 2 minutes.
I don't think double kills bot should be happening before 2 minutes in the game. We didn't even get, okay, we go instantly to the replay. PP God being the one to aggress. Missing thinks he finds the opportunity, but just doing a nice job of kiting him out. Elk not in range to do damage, and they're even taking all the damage from the minions they're walking in through, right? That's like about 20 damage per minion at this stage of the game, so taking a lot. PLG are in such a great place now. And this goes to what we were talking about, right? Like, when you are looking at WE struggles, you can't just pinpoint one member. You can't just be like, oh, it's Mole, or it's Beishang, or it's Missing, or it's this or that. They've shown consistent problems pretty much everywhere on the map thus far, other than in top lane.
That's right. It's a WE issue entirely. And we looked at the bottom lane matchup. We said it's going to be interesting to watch Aiming versus Elk. Never did I believe that the 2v2 would spring into action that quickly, but you and I have seen this a couple of times now. Level 1 Tom Kench, his base damages are so high with Tongue Lash. It's just something you should never disrespect. So a 2-0 Tom here, who will be picking up the CS. Aiming's going to pick up assists as well. So already a great start to the comp that you mentioned. We're happy with Aiming getting to those couple of items, getting into a comfortable position where later on they probably can 5v5, maybe a little bit earlier than we expected.
Yeah, already getting Aiming and PP God in a good place. I still don't think that's going to be what you're looking towards early, though, just because of the strength you have coming out of your soul laners, right? We see Bolt, Zika, and BuBu winning their matchups right now. That will shift later on because Silas will outscale LeBlanc in the 1v1, so LeBlanc won't be able to safely sit up against him, but we need to go back towards the bot lane because Beishang,
I wonder.
Looks like he's looking for it, but Aiming and PP God are respecting.
And PP God, he's already got double Ruby Crystal. I mean, look at his HP value this early in the game. He's still going to be hard to kill despite the level advantage for WE. They carry the lane in and will have a small CS lead, but apart from that, it is a center time. You expect it to be so. And they'll just farm it up. Beishang backs away. Weiwei now going to be walking over a ward in try, so missing an elk. Have enough information and they can just back off and yield to the pressure.
Yeah, now Weiwei's the one hovering around, but with the ward, doesn't seem like anything's going to be able to happen. Weiwei just going to clear that ward. His Krugs are up, so he's just going to default back to that. You don't waste too much time looking for ganks like this ever since the camp spawn times have been set back a little bit, right? Because after you spawn those, you'd still be waiting another 20, 30 seconds before your next camp did respawn, so not too much lost on that end. Looking back to the mid lane, though, Zika getting a fair advantage, and this is one thing that's just really nice against a lot of Sylas lanes this split, right, is how much cheaper Morello has been made, only 800 gold, so able to get that one quite early. But as we see, if Shanks can find the all-in, you can definitely look for that out trade, typically waiting for the LeBlanc to use E, and then you can look for that all-in, just win out, maybe force him to use W, and you can still walk away happy with the trade slightly one in your favor.
And the CS lead at that as well. We've got about almost 10 here for Zika, managing on picking up this upcoming minion wave. The biggest thing for me as well, Lyric, why you're mentioning that is that, Shank's getting tested here in this lane. Remember, we talked a lot about him coming in over Mole. And, what a surprise it was, first of all, but how the champion pool would fare. So we want to see what kind of impact he has here on this Sylas. Text flash in the bottom lane won't mean too much. And what Beishang can do, because Beishang has a blasting wand. He's almost level 6 for the Lunar Rush. Excuse me, Moonfall. And with Sylas, it's actually a very good combo, even against the LeBlanc. There's a lot of CC involved in that 2v2.
Yeah, I think a lot of it also comes down to trying to bait out a trade early on. So typically what you'll see is like a heavy trade come out from the Sylas, then try to bring the Diana in once the Summers have been burnt. But looks like Missing went for an engage.
All right, here comes Beishang as well. Over a ward, they'll know, but look, jungler nowhere nearby. Beishang wants that Crescent Strike. He goes in with the Lunar Rush, but Beishang's gone a little bit deep. Not enough damage at this point in the game. It's just Soul territory here for aiming, who puts him to half health and sends him packing.
It's one of those things as well. Not only did they have a ward, but when Missing goes in, they know Elk and Missing won't look for that 2v2. I'm going to pause, though, because BLG look like they have a dive angle.
Weiwei's almost at 6 as well to disable the turret. They're going to get for the minion wave here, Lyric. Zika will help clear it out, but Weiwei doesn't care. He's just going to strike him down. Storm Splitter as well. And Bio picks up the kill. He's level 6. He did his job. And BLG have made proactive moves.
Now we want to see if WE can answer in the bottom lane. Shanks doesn't have any TP, though. He does have a window to move now if they want to look for it.
Missing's gone in onto aiming, eaten up. Here's the flash on in. Beishang has 6. The Lunar Rush pulls them in. The Moonfall doesn't do the damage. As TP's in, BLG are in, and WE are way too deep. Bubu cleaning it up. Double kill on the Lee Sin as Elk's trying to find the final one. Shanks forces the flash, but gets the kill. Bubu's already got a triple, and another one bites the dust. That's a harsh maneuver from WE.
Everything just goes completely wrong in BLG win out. Senatom Kench able to buy so much time. Both of them have a heal, able to extend how long they're able to survive in this initial fight. We're gonna see here, they look for the engage because BLG made the play on Tom's side. He goes in, lands the ultimate, locks both of them down, but once the TV starts coming out, Beishang also did tank a turret shot. They know they need to start running away. Bubu picks up that first one, but they're just too strong. Sure, Elk can turn around and equalize with a kill, and we know that Shanks is going to pick up this next one, but Bubu's full HP, Shanks is tanking turret. There was just nowhere for him to go. Really nice response coming out from Bubu, and he didn't even lose anything in the top lane, right? Because they just committed that play on top side. He just pushed in the wave. Wraith was already dead, so losing out nothing for making that play. Overall, just massive win for the side of BLG.
Dude, he has a Gore Drinker in 8 minutes. Not only did he lose anything, he got a hell of a lot here in this first game. Gore Drinker Lee Sin already pile driving so much damage. He's 1.3k ahead of his top laner in Breathe. And you look at the top of your scoreboard after that play, 2,000 and a bit gold for BLG. Things going really right, and this is why we're kind of hyping up that BLG, they bounced back in their last series. More importantly, players like Zika, Bubu, having a good start to the split, and we can already see the benefactors of that last play. We're going to see how BLG can keep this momentum going, how the game moves from here, Lyric, because it's Dragon for Herald, but Weiwei is going to be able to use that momentum once again with the solo laners split around.
I mean, the big thing is, right, we hit on who were the big players in their last series. It was Bilibili naming once again, stepping up, having good performances. We are going to see WE try to move down towards the bottom lane. Even if they don't find a dive, right, at least trying to deny some CS or make things uncomfortable for BLG. But Aiming PPGod now coming out so strong, able to win out in these trades with the items that they have picked up. Already pushing Beishang out. And I feel like once we go through the checklist, right, first of all, we were saying, okay, whichever bot lane can get ahead, it feels like that's what's really going to be impactful for how much they rely on their 80 carries. Okay, check, that's in BLG's favor. And it felt like the backup plan for WE is always breathe, pop off, breathe, carry. Well, guess what? BU is 4-0, has that core drinker, like you said. It feels like both things WE needed to check off the list have been checked off. And now it's going to be up to a BLG mistake, in my opinion, for things to go back to being WE favored. They do have a good amount of scaling, right? Silas, Diana, Viego, tremendous scaling on the whole top side of the map. If they can find their way onto Aiming later on, he definitely will go down. So we shouldn't count them out just yet, but the fact that BLG also were able to get first turret, open up the side lanes, start maybe putting Zeke and BB, trying to rotate them around the map, move Sen and Tahm Kench to mid lane, I feel like things are just so bad for WE right now.
Definitely such great control from BLG. Teleport going to come through the mid lane for Shanks. The Herald did get crashed down and destroyed up in the top lane for Breathe, but huge topside wave means huge topside vision for BLG as well. Means that topside jungle gets a little bit more difficult when Lee Sin, Volibear are a great roaming threat. I mean, I got to add in the LeBlanc as well, of course. When Zeke is not on the map, the top side of BLG is really scary to deal with. And I think there's an impressive early game, right? We said their early games were quite comfortable. It wasn't really when they came alive. We looked towards the fights, but this early game has been great reactionary play. Another reason why people getting hyped on BLG's return. Now, Lyric, I want to move us forward a little bit with that first turret. I want you to talk to me a little bit about lane state and what you do as BLG, abusing the Lee Sin, especially with that one item advantage.
So what they want to do is actually what we just saw the rotation was. You push our top wave as Lee Sin, you get some wards down in the enemy jungle. We saw BU looked like he did get a ward on Raptors, but that one did get cleared out. Hover around the mid lane, you're going to consistently have way around there as well, and you can even have Aiming move over at this point like we're seeing on our screen, and that'll just allow Zeke even more freedom of having push, even though he already had it, but that opens up the bottom side jungle like we're seeing BLG now. So you're transferring pressure from top to mid, and then mid down into the bottom side jungle. You're going to look for these skirmishes to look to contest camps, and then once things like Dragon and Scuttlecrab come back up, you should have the advantage to look for those. The way WE's circumventing that is by sending Breathe straight down to the skirmish.
Oh, but Beishang's been caught out. They didn't group up. Shanks went back to the mid wave, and Beishang's already dead. Missing the next target. He'll be lucky to get away, but pick potential, still good for BLG.
And it's one of those things, right? You saw that WE were aware of what was happening because Breathe was making his way down. It looked like they were going to try and go contest River Vision together, but they quickly moved away. Oh God, Shanks is dead.
Stormbringer there, aiming as well. That'll give him the HP to get out, luckily, but Shanks just didn't pay any respect, and now he loses mid-wave. Elk has to cover, but versus 3, still a lot of danger.
And then you just look at PPGod down in the bottom lane, having a great time, getting far ahead in CS. And yeah, I mean, this PPGod just going to be so far accelerated, right? One of the great things about the fasting Senna and the Senna Tahm Kench lane is that Tahm Kench able to get his items a lot faster than he normally would, to where Aiming still getting all those battle stats from his souls. And with the amount of kills and assists he's picked up, he's pretty far ahead as well. Even though PPGod is quite far ahead, I don't think a level 7 Tahm Kench should be looking to fight the level 9 Silas.
Also true. Even if Silas doesn't have his item, should be backing now. I'll be curious if Shanks is able to pick up the Everfrost. We do have a couple of mythics on board. I want to point out to people, Prowler's Claw here for Elk, Beishang with the Proto Belt as well, or the Rocket Belt, excuse me. So we are getting some first items for WE, but I think the biggest question for me, Lyric, is what happens towards this next Dragon, considering that BLG is still 3,000 in the lead. This Lee Sin as well in fights is going to overtake. And if Zeke is able to pick up close to that first item, if we do have aimings too, being able to match WE still feels BLG favored.
So I want to see WE just give Drake. I think you give Drake, you look for the gold trade on the opposite side of the map. You're not in any position where you need to fight right now. We talked about how a lot of their champions come online later on. You are also saved a bit by the fact that you picked up first Dragon, so it's not like you're going to be on a timer anytime soon of like BLG being on soul point. So give that up, start trying to get down some topside vision. I feel like Elk and Missing will probably be denied some waves and denied some CS. But the problem is, right, you're already put in this position by the early action in bottom lane, by the dive in top in the counter gank / counter dive coming on bot lane. So as WE, you don't get to dictate what options you have right now.
And I like that BLG are pushing that to the next favor. It's control ward after control ward in the enemy jungle, keeping Beishang under wraps. And now that the Dragon's live, well, BLG, they're going to have vision that a couple of people backing here. Shanks once again pushed out by HP. Zika doing a great job of trading in this mid lane as plating goes down. And Dragon's now there. It's just a free take. You're right, Lyric. WE won't contest this one. So it does mean one Dragon apiece, an Infernal Soul coming up. And WE trying to bide the time you talked about with the scaling up towards the top side of that map. That's why Breathe has just been sitting in the side lane, farming out, not overextending, and making sure he can get past this Divine Thunder and actually have impact here on the Viego and fights.
Yeah, now I expect us to see Shanks, Beishang, and Missing push out topside and try and get some vision down, but looks like they're actually just going to give up topside altogether. They do know that Rift Herald's coming up, right? So you know that BLG are naturally going to make their way up there. It felt like if WE had those resets come out earlier, about a minute ago, that they potentially could have gotten that wave into turret, maybe chunk turret a bit more, already have some vision down to spot out what's going on. Instead, going to try and play around Breathe on the bottom side, pick up some of the enemy camps, and Beishang just farming right now in his jungle, but I feel like BLG are just getting so far ahead. You talked about what was like a 2k gold lead a few minutes ago. Now we're working our way up to a 4k gold lead. They're going to get Herald. They should be able to turn mid-drop this one, probably be at a 5k gold lead at around 16, 17 minutes.
And I just love that BLG is still pushing that advantage. BLG's top lane now on the bottom side. Bubu trying to push out the wave, but there is an enemy jungler there. Beishang ready for the gank in the bottom lane, while BLG have shown 4 mid. I wonder if they pull the trigger and try and get that bounty off of this Lee Sin, but even 1v2, I'd be scared right now as BLG. They're going to push tempo mid instead, and Elk runs into a LeBlanc. They thought they were confident, but now with the Herald charging through, the Stormbringer down as well. Missing to flash away, Shanks back on in. It's a stolen Stormbringer, but Zika up and confrontational once again. Beishang rolls on in still with the Moonfall, but BLG, they knew exactly what they were doing when they take down 2 turrets and another kill.
I'm just saying, I'm totally surprised that Elk got blown up by that, right? We don't even have a Mythic coming out from Zika yet. Hasn't even finished his Ludens, but the action's not done yet. Breathe is going to be punished.
4, 5 members of BLG. Yeah, bring a TP. You might need to bring someone else as Breathe is about to get dove. He's dead in an instant as Zika's LeBlanc now 2-0-2. Bubu looking for a further dive. But that's all BLG need. They're not slowing down, Lyric, and their decision-making is on point so far.
Yeah, BLG have done a great job of utilizing their early advantage, right? And it's one of those things, I think pros, teams, anyone who's been in the scene has talked about a lot, that decision-making and moving the game forward is a lot easier when you're ahead as compared to, you know, like in a neutral state or behind. But I want to see this. Just such an insane amount of damage. Just did it by himself. Yeah, double chain came out. Q, I don't even think W was part of that equation to get out all the damage to burst out Elk. And then they're able to force Breathe back as well. They get the second charge of Herald to take another turret. And I was wrong. I said, hey, maybe we'll be at 5k by 17 minutes, but we've worked our way up all the way to 6k for the side of BLG. And now they can just keep it stock and standard, right? You're going to keep having Bubu down in that side lane. You're going to have Zika answer waves on whatever side of the map you are playing towards, pushing those out, moving in for deep vision like PP God and Aiming are doing right now. And then you do have a lot of pick potential, like you highlighted earlier. Sending someone like Zika and Weiwei in a brush, trying to pick someone off, or even pushing forward until Baron does spawn in a few minutes, or the next Dragon's up, to just take another free objective, because you would assume WE understand they aren't able to contest another Dragon anytime soon.
That's right. A couple of mountains at least. I said it was an Infernal Soul before. I apologize. Actually, a Mountain Soul here. So for someone like PP God, Weiwei, Bubu, these bruiser / tanks, they're going to be so good in this late game. That 5v5 gets easier if you can start stacking up these dragons. I think also, Lyric, a point to make is this BLG are moving towards this top side with this long lane ahead of them and lack of vision. WE, it's so scarce to even walk near their own turret.
Yeah, definitely Aiming, able to put up a lot of punishment. And Zika especially. We already saw what he did to Elk under turret last time around. So right now, just going to chunk them out, get some more damage on this turret. There is no other neutral objective up right now, right? Dragon up in about a minute. Baron's still not on the field. They've already taken away all of WE's jungle camps. They have vision in both quadrants of the jungle. They're even moving Bubu up. He pushed down the bottom wave, now moving to mid. So BLG definitely doing all these steps to pushing their advantage as far forward as possible. And when we look at WE, I mean, with this kind of disadvantage, right, you pretty much just have to accept.
You do. You just hope you don't walk into Zika. You clear as much vision as you can, and you prepare yourself for playing stagnant gameplay for the next 15 at least minutes. 7,000 gold, by the way, now. We've gone up another 1,000 after the turret went down. And 20 seconds time, you'll have another dragon here for BLG too. Good deep ward here by WE to spot out Zika. They're going to look for a trap, but it's a LeBlanc. Of course he's going to bait you in. You're never going to find him. And Zika just walks away.
Yeah, and BLG just going to play for that free objective down on bottom side. You can see all of their members making their way in there now. PB starting to hover up towards top lane just in case Zika does need some help. But regardless, it will be a free Drake. WE should finally be able to get some gold back in their pockets, though, because they haven't been able to pick up a turret yet. So this will be the first turret of the game for WE. They were able to get control of vision again back in their topside jungle. So if we ever do transition to a Baron take coming out for BLG, they're going to have to go through all the steps once again. But with the level of power, that shouldn't be too big of a deal. And BLG are going to answer with the turret in the bottom side as well as the dragon. So
and I just love
even
that
winning out on the trade.
They had a huge wave mid as well, right? There was always that threat from WE that, hey, we can't go further than a topside turret. We know that we have to back straight away. A massive wave in the mid lane that Elk was able to catch, but nevertheless still adding pressure against WE. Third dragon here goes down, BLG with 2 on their board. And again, a Mountain Soul to remind you of how hard that's going to be for a team like WE that have burst, right, Lyric? You know, a Mountain Shield's always going to be beneficial for any team, but Silas, Viego, Diana, even the Varus, the Mountain Shield can mitigate a lot of that. So it feels like BLG, if they're able to pick that up, it's going to be a much easier game than it already is.
And I mean, when you have this much of an advantage, it's like, sure, you do have the guaranteed way of looking for the win, which is just kind of respecting, looking to stack those drakes, playing it a bit slow, doing what BLG was doing before, where you're still pushing into the enemy jungle, looking for picks, getting turret pressure down where you can, but right, taking it the more guaranteed route. The thing I'm wondering if BLG will do is be one of those confident teams that look for a Baron bait coming out, try to get the turn. They don't have amazing turn potential coming in without a flank, like sure, Weiwei can just jump straight in, or BB some kind of insane ward hop, but maybe put BB or Zeke on a flank, try to bring WE in, and then really take advantage of WE while you are so far ahead of them in terms of where your champions spike on their items compared to where their champions spike.
I do like that positioning around Baron, the talk there, and see if BLG can clear wards first to lure them in. I mean, at the moment, BLG have had control of the top side for the majority of this game. Even walking towards this brush in front of Raptors, I mean, BLG don't care, 2 people in front, WE need the whole crew. Considering Breathe is visible on the bottom side of the map, there's nothing more that can be done. 11 kills, 21 minutes here, and Baron has spawned, now being sit in front of by Weiwei. He's not starting it. I think he's just clearing out vision. He's bringing Bubu over. But BLG are going so lengthy, so deep in this jungle to make sure there's nothing. And I'm wrong. They are starting it because they have so much shielding.
And, I mean, they can do whatever they want, right? They have the vision. They have the push in all 3 lanes. And even if WE come in, you're going to see this chunk come out from Zika. Like I said, the turn potential not great, but it does look like it's enough to catch missing out.
Chains of Corruption to disengage. They will lock down Zika, who's used a lot of mana to burst them down. Shanks goes forward. PP got at half health. That's only the Chains of Corruption and the Solar Flare from WE. They didn't extend everything, or exhaust everything, excuse me. Aiming had to use his ulti, but apart from that, BLG can rinse and repeat.
And the reason why BLG feel like they need to turn so early, right, is because they don't have a Leona, they don't have a Nautilus, they don't have something where they can let you walk closer in and they can get that guaranteed engage. So trying to turn early off the fact of like Zika finding Poke coming out or PP God landing some of his slows with his Qs, but not able to get it. They did get some summoner spells coming out missing, at least did have to blow his flash. So really only that one being lost for WE, but you can look for this play pretty consistently as a side of BLG and look to rinse and repeat. I do think it'd be better if BLG would just put Bubu or Zika in one of these brushes to try to let them come in sooner and look to catch them off guard with the angle you come afterwards, but looks like Missing might finally go down.
And he's just dead in an instant. Zika already peppered him, and the salt comes from the rest of BLG. 5 members return. Aiming has the healing here, especially for himself. And it's Baron attempt number 3 or 4 at this point. They don't take too much damage from him.
No, Hysterics, you just have to keep doing this until you get more and more kills or you eventually get the Baron. You don't want to open yourself up to Beishang being able to steal, though, so you definitely expect BLG to look for a turn rather than commit to a 50-50.
Beishang with a Moonfall as well. Remember, in a tight space with Chains of Corruption now used is going to be quite a lot. PP God spits him back out in the backline. Bubu destroys Elk. One kick to the face is all it takes as Breathe has to be unstoppable to get out, but it's the flash. Tempest, cripple, Stormbringer stolen, but PP God takes hardly any damage himself. Shanks goes back in over the Grey Shield. Weiwei hasn't de-aggroed the Baron, so Zeke is now going to have to help him. The Abyssal Voyage from PP God as well. Baron will eventually go down, and BLG are just toying with him at this point.
Just like, what a hilarious point of view, right? To where I love the angle they had the camera at, that we have all this action on the right side of the screen, and Weiwei's just chilling. Weiwei's just hitting Baron the whole time, not concerned with anything that's going on. And I mean, now for BLG, it's just, it's pretty much guaranteed at this point, right? We're going to see they went for this Baron bait numerous times. I want to see what happens with Bilibili, though. Spin him back out, goes into the Sonic Wave. Like you said, he just needs to kick, gets that instant kill onto Elk. You have the Root coming out as well onto Breathe. Breathe's going to be able to go down. PP God running forward. Just so good, and Weiwei off to the side. You love to see it. And now, BLG own everything on the map. WE don't get to do anything. WE thought that, you know, this was their jungle. These were their camps. WE are that guy at the gym, like that scrawny guy who's like maybe trying to do deadlifts or squats or something. And then that giant, intimidating Chad walks up and, you know, asks you to move. You don't actually have any choice, even if you do think you have a choice. And I know that guy well, Hysterics, because that guy is me.
It's you. Wait, the scrawny guy or the heavy guy? The big guy, right?
Of course. Am I the big Chad?
I don't know. I was gonna give you the compliment as time. Weiwei has taken Elk, and you know we thought this game was over, but BLG want to put it on paper. Aiming, getting away. Good moonfall though. WE's wombo finally comes through. BLG in a clump, but a kick. Right again, this time feels like it was to the groin, Lyric. As Bubu's still alive, the abscond abduct to kill him is good for Shanks. PP God only left alive. Kick was good, but BLG already got womboed. So WE lived to stay another day.
Yeah, the big thing is like you're talking about the wombo coming out with Diana. And then secondly, Zika wasn't really part of that. Zika walked up when it came to the end of the fight. It looked like he was thinking, oh, can I find an angle into this? I'm jumping in two members who are decently, oh my God, though, that damage is not going to stop being surprising. Ooh, this guy is incredibly far ahead, even, you know, having the finished Morello. We know was sitting on the Oblivion Orb for a long time, and he wants to keep looking for these short trades. But going back to that last skirmish, it feels like a big part was your LeBlanc wasn't there. Your LeBlanc is a member who is so far accelerated as well, and not able to chain in all that burst to find the victory. And we're going to see here, Zika kind of making his way over the wall. Was part of the initial damage coming out, but Flash comes out. Weiwei keeps going in, but then all the members of BLG just start to run forward and clump together. We're going to see it right here. I think it's Shanks who starts off, and just Beishong following in, lands the Moonfall. You do have squishy members on the side of BLG, so they do get taken down immediately. And this is what I was talking about with Zika trying to find his way in, goes in, isn't able to hit chains. I think he missed 2 or 3 in the skirmish. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I can't do anything. I'm out, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess, but props to Beishong when they're on death's door, able to get the Moonfall. I know it's easy when people walk into your base as a clump of 5, but still a moment that keeps WE in the game. And while it is still a 9, almost 10k gold lead here at 26 minutes, just remember that we already talked about what WE can do if the game goes long enough. We just need to see a couple more of those plays and the ability to stop something like the Mountain Soul. Mountain Dragon was picked up, by the way, when we were in the replay. BLG just doing this again. WE say last legs one more time. The Moonfall in the backline already been used, but this time it's only on the PP God who goes golden. Heartbreaker from Breed is good start, as WE still have 5 now versus 4. Into the backline, Shanks trying to get in, but has to get eaten up by the fake Breathe. He's stolen away PP God's luxury of being a catfish. But unfortunately, catfishes are always found out. BLG, even with 4, still know they're strong, Lyric. They're still going to try for the in hit.
And let's remember that the way that BLG were winning so many fights before, right, was being able to chunk members out with Zika before skirmishes broke out. They haven't been able to do that, but TP's coming out.
All right, Zika low. Shanks not spotted out in the backline. Everfrost misses, though. It misses. The abscond abduct recovers the play. Weiwei going gold with the Sonya's Hourglass while Zika clears up the rest. Weiwei a hair's breadth, but Beishong will now have resets. And BLG, Lyric, this is happening once again. The poke not good enough from Elk at this point of the game. But hey, BLG keep trying to get into the base. They got the in-hit, Lyric. But WE is still holding on for now. Zeke is running in once again. Distortion number 1 to bait. Will he go again? Chains of Corruption. Oh, no, misses.
PP God is back on the map.
Oh, it misses. The Chains of Corruption missed as well. Zeke gets burnt out. Abyssal Voyage from PP God. He's just trying to get closer.
Oh!
Bubu gets a kill on the back line and gets himself out. This has become an ending fiesta where 2 minutes of just blood hits on the rift.
I didn't even see Bubu go back in for the play. Somehow goes in there, finds the kill onto missing. For BLG at this point, I feel like you get away from playing the one lane setup. Stop giving so much, stop giving such an easy angle for Beishang and Shanks to look for that easy dive in, and then Breathe to potentially benefit off of the burst and finding all those resets, right? Maybe look to play through 2 lanes. They do have a 3-lane setup as well if they do want to put Lee Sin back into, you know, like another side lane, LeBlanc on one side. But I feel like you want to keep doing where Zeke is just kind of pushing out one side, consistently grouping with his team, looking for poke like he's been doing in the enemy jungle with his bottom lane and way rotating in.
Well, BLG may not have listened to your lyric for now. BB maybe has. He's going to the bottom lane. But the rest of BLG still grouping up, and wide change here from Zika, who picked up the blue buff before, so never-ending mana supply over the wall. You watch him, it's double sigil and double damage over to Beishang. I want to note out as well, the reason that Zika hasn't been overstaying or trying to commit for kills is the fact that he has a Majai's lyric, 17 stacks. He doesn't want to die. He wants those 25, he wants to live on. As BB
and he hasn't died yet, right? 2 games, has not died on LeBlanc yet.
True. We pulled this up before, right? 2-0 on the pick. Perfect KDA. And Zika's looking for a 3rd on top of that.
And again, it's just phenomenal to watch how he plays with this champion. Baron is up, though, so BLG... he just keeps doing... Beishang doesn't even get a chance. He probably didn't even know what happened. He just walked out of his base, instantly dead, instantly gray screened.
All right, well, free Baron. No jungle attention whatsoever. I love that. It's always the play. You think, okay, they've got to back away going towards the Baron now, right? Zika wouldn't have sat there for a full minute, but Zika's still there. Gets another kill, 5-0-5. Adds another couple of stacks in the Jais as well. On top of 21. And BLG with Baron number 2. You want to see them play through sides here, Lyric. Look at the crashing waves.
But this also highlights why BLG are having a harder time once they do get the waves pushed in, right? Because, they just... Okay, we just need to stop. We need to stop getting excited about this. Missing is dead.
Plan this time. Stormbringer. Zika wants max stacks. And he's looking to get it. Gets an assist? Actually, no. Where's it? Okay, we get 2 Majai stacks. Thank you very much for holding, ladies and gentlemen. Zika with the turret. Watch this LeBlanc in the back. As 5 members of BLG charge in. Baron number 2 looks to be the game ender. And Shanks, Beishang here to defend. Breathe is up as well. 2-man Moonfall. With Zika on the back line into Elk. And he has to go and return to the fountain. Shanks is doing all he can with the Stormbringer, as Weiwei will give over a reset to Breathe. But the burst still exists. Zika with max stacks. Backline Bubu, who got a triple kill in the early game. And BLG... Lyric, this just looked easy from start to finish, to all the shenanigans in between. BLG in 31 minutes open up the series and tell WE to go home.
And that was a lot more decisive than I expected. You know, not to knock on BLG, but when you looked at these 2 teams on paper, you're like, this could be a very close matchup. Me and you were talking about, you know, we have 2 different stadiums today. We thought there was no way we get to the second series on time. If BLG can keep this up in game 2, I mean, this not a good look for WE.